Hello and welcome to the Federal Podcast on IPL 2023. I am Aprameya. After 33 matches, Chennai Super Kings are on top of the table with 10 points from 7 games, while the 5 teams Rajasthan, Lucknow, Gujarat, Bangalore, and Punjab tied on 8 points each. RCB captain Faf du Plessis is the orange cap holder with 405 runs, and the purple cap is with his teammate Mohammad Siraj, who has taken 13 wickets so far. To review last week's 10 matches between April 17 and 23, we are again joined by senior cricket writer R. Kaushik. Thanks, Kaushik, for talking to the Federal.
My pleasure, Apu. Happy to be here.
Kaushik, before we get to review IPL weekly review, I want to talk about Sachin Tendulkar's 50th birthday today. Can you share your views on the batting legend, Kaushik?
Yeah, there is very little for us to talk about Sachin that has not been spoken about. I mean, the journey itself was fascinating. For 24 years in international cricket, it's hard. I mean, I think at a certain level we took Sachin for granted, which might sound silly, but it is probably the greatest compliment to him that people expected great things of him, and
Right.
he did achieve most of those great things, all of those great things, if you like. I mean, he came as a 16-year-old. He went to Pakistan. This is a kid who cried because he was not selected to go to West Indies. When he was 15 years old, and the West Indies attack was Malcolm Marshall, Curtly Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, and Ian Bishop. And Tendulkar cried because he thought he was good enough to play them. And the selectors were afraid for him because he was 15 and he was this tiny little kid. And when he went to Pakistan, everybody in Pakistan was aghast that India could take a chance with such a young kid, such a small boy. And they had a fantastic attack as well. There was Wasim Akram, who was at his peak, Imran Khan. Waqar Yunus made his debut in the same series as Sachin did, and then there was Abdul Qadir. So to go there to score 2 half centuries in 4 Test matches, and then that sensational assault on Qadir in the one-day game, which was an exhibition game, he was just he at that time itself he set the standards really high, and then for 24 years of his career he had to meet those expectations time after time, and to do that, to carry the team on his shoulders, to conduct himself in the manner in which he did, to overcome so many injuries. I mean, you are bound to have injuries when you have such a long career, but he had a bad back injury 10 years into his career. He had the problem with his foot, the sesamoid bone in 2001 in Zimbabwe, and then the tennis elbow, which threatened to end his career. And to overcome all that, to continue to play for 24 years, to be a part of a World Cup winning team, which was one of his greatest dreams, to finish with 51 Test match hundreds, 100 hundreds in all in international cricket. I mean, I don't think there will be another Tendulkar, anyone close to Tendulkar ever again, with all due respect to the exploits of people like Kohli and Ricky Ponting and all of them.
Right.
Tendulkar is just in a league of his own.
Rightly put, Kaushik. So we'll get back to IPL review, Kaushik. Looking back at the last week, I feel Chennai Super Kings were the team of the week, considering that they won completed hat-trick of wins. Your thoughts on that, Kaushik?
Absolutely, Apu. You put it perfectly right. I mean, they are the
Right.
team of the week. 3 matches in the week, and out of those 3 games, importantly, 2 matches away from home. We all know how much of a fortress Chepauk is for the CSK team, and so you expect them to maintain their dominance at their home ground, but then to come to Bangalore and defeat Royal Challengers Bangalore in a high-scoring game here at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, then to go to Calcutta and really put on an exhibition on how to bat aggressively in T20 cricket on Sunday night. I mean, fabulous performance. It's easy to get carried away with all the batting riches that they have unleashed in this campaign, but it's also worth remembering that their bowling attack is severely handicapped. So many of their first choice bowlers are missing. The
Right.
fast bowling department is really stretched to the thin, and I think it's a great credit to the batting group led by Rahane. I mean, Rahane has been a revelation this season, and Devon Conway has continued his good form. Shivam Dubey is really reveling in batting higher up the order. So while the batting has really stepped up, I think we must also not forget the contribution of MS Dhoni as a captain. I mean, Dhoni's captain is a legend as much as Tendulkar, the cricketer, is a legend. And this season, with the resources that he has had to mastermind this campaign and take them to the top of the points table halfway through the league phase, it's a great achievement.
I was about to ask you on Rahane's transformation. He lost his place in the Indian Test side, and now the way he's been batting, it's been phenomenal, isn't it, Kaushik? What do you attribute this to? Is it Dhoni? Some have said it is because of Dhoni's captaincy, the way he's used his resources, or is there anything else to his batting?
Well, not only some, Rahane himself has said that a lot of the credit for his success must go to Dhoni, and I think that's typically humble and modest of Rahane because no matter what backing you get from anybody, ultimately you have to go out and score those runs,
Right.
Rahane. But I think what Dhoni has given Rahane is clarity in his role in different teams in the past. He had different roles. Sometimes he was in the squad, not wanted. Sometimes he was dropped after 2-3 failures. But clearly with Dhoni, knowing what he wants an experienced batsman at number 3, somebody who can play different roles. But this is a role that the role that Rahane, as I said, this season has taken so many people by surprise and by pleasant surprise. I mean, he has batted with such authority and freedom, and he's done that playing proper cricketing shots like Virat Kohli does. It's not like he's done anything cute or different, or he's not really played the power game. He's just batted like Rahane usually bats. Especially if you look at some of his test hundreds, especially overseas, the 200s at Melbourne in 2014-15, and then in the last series when Kohli came back and India were 36 all out in Adelaide. After that, Rahane got the brilliant 100 in Melbourne to mastermind the beginning of the Indian fight back. And then the 100 at Lords in 2014. Those are hundreds where he comes and expresses himself and bats completely fearlessly. And it's that same fearlessness. Sometimes you're afraid of playing shots because you think, what happens if I get out? And that can tie you down horribly badly. Like maybe KL Rahul is an example of that. But Rahane has been so expressive in his batting, and like I said, he's batted like Rahane. He's batted the conventional manner. And I think it's great credit to the fact that at this stage of his career, after 10 years in international cricket, he's still willing to reinvent himself as a batsman. Whether this translates into something from an international perspective, I'm not sure. But CSK will not be complaining at this new avatar of Rahane that we are seeing now.
And during last week as well, we saw that MS Dhoni statement that he said is in the last phase of his career. What do you make of this? Is he going to retire after this season, or will we see him again next year as well in IPL?
You never know with Dhoni, do you, Apu? I mean, Dhoni is one of those fantastically cryptic characters who has left us hanging for so long in so many different aspects. Like, for instance, everyone thought that after the 2019 World Cup, he would call it quits. He waited a year and a bit and then announced casually on social media that we should consider him retired. And a couple of years back, Danny Morrison asked him if he was going to retire after that IPL, and Dhoni said definitely not, the two most famous words in Indian cricket. So with Dhoni, you never know, because it's not like he will make a song and dance of anything or have a farewell series like Ganguly had or a farewell series like Steve Waugh had. When it happens, it happens. But yeah, of course, I mean, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that Dhoni is towards the end of his career. He'll be 42 in July, and he plays once a year in the IPL. And no matter how fit you are and how driven and motivated you are, it's not easy to just keep playing after a gap of 10 months. That is something that we will have to take into account. The fact that Dhoni's knees are giving him a lot of trouble. I mean, nobody can go on forever. Time doesn't wait for anyone. So, yeah, will this be Dhoni's final season? I have a feeling it will be. But then again, I mean, it is Dhoni, so who knows what's in store.
Yeah, let us wait and see. Coach,
And enjoy him for as long as he's there. So.
I want to talk about another individual. You mentioned that Dhoni plays only in the IPL entire year. And there's one more person like RCB captain Fab du Plessis. He's been phenomenal, isn't it? The way he's batting, 400 plus runs already, and the orange cap holder.
Yes, I mean, the difference between Dhoni and Faf is that Dhoni plays only the IPL. At least Faf plays in some of the other leagues. So he is in touch with the game. He's in touch with competitive cricket, even between IPLs. So he's probably slightly better off in that sense. He's also 4 years younger than Dhoni, so that counts for a little bit. But yes, I mean, the fact that he's sitting on top of the run scorers chart, and it's also worth remembering that the last two innings that he's played with a great deal of physical discomfort with the rib injury that he sustained against CSK. That's forced him to not come out to field, which is why Virat Kohli has been leading RCB in the last two games.
Right.
Whenever he comes out to bat, he comes out with heavy strapping on the right side of his rib cage, because that's where the injury came when he fielded, when he fell on the field while trying to stop the ball. And that it cannot be easy to have that injury because when you play certain shots, then that part of the body does get badly affected. The injury it doesn't get worse, but you feel that sharp twinge of pain, and to overcome that and to bat in the manner in which he's batted. Yes, of course, 400 plus runs is very impressive, but he's also set the tone for RCB with his attacking options, his attacking approach at the start of the innings, in the power play, after the power play. So yeah, it is the classic case of leading from the front, even though he may not be the designated captain for the last two matches.
And sticking with RCB, there is a lot of criticism like RCB has become three-man batting team like Virat Kohli, Faf du Plessis and Glenn Maxwell. There could be a time where if all three fail in a particular crucial game in the playoffs or somewhere, the team could collapse. Your thoughts on that, Kaushik, their batting, apart from these three?
Yeah, it is true. What you say is correct. RCB is heavily dependent on these three gentlemen that you mentioned. They have tried a host of young Indian talent in the middle order, if you like. Mahipal Lomror, Suyash Prabhudesai, Shahbaz Ahmed, Anuj Rawat. None of these guys has really paid off, and RCB has persisted with them because they don't have any other options left with them. It must be a big setback that Dinesh Karthik has not been able to score the kind of runs that he did, or have the kind of impact that he had last year. Perhaps it has got a little bit to do with the fact that he may not have the same motivation. We are only guessing, and it may be not fair to Karthik, but last year he had an India comeback to look forward to, and that's over. I don't think Karthik himself believes that there's another comeback on the cards for him, so maybe that is a factor. I'm not sure. But yes, it is. They are heavily dependent on Maxwell, Kohli, and du Plessis. And you're right. I mean, it could come to haunt them in a crucial game, in a playoff game, in a knockout game. You never know. But that is the card that they've been dealt with, especially with the injury to Rajat Patidar, which ruled them out of the season even before the ball was bowled. And Patidar was such an influential figure in their scheme of things last year. So yeah, in a manner of speaking, it's their batting problems are a little bit like the Chennai Super Kings bowling problems, which perhaps highlights the impact of Dhoni on CSK's run thus far.
And also, Kaushik, last week we noticed a low-scoring game, Gujarat versus Lucknow. Lucknow had the chase in control with 9 wickets and remaining, and Rahul batting, and suddenly they collapsed and lost by 7 runs. What do you say about the strike rate of the batsmen, particularly like Rahul and others? Like, as once Rahul said, is strike rate overrated, or it is the important factor in IPL or T20 cricket?
Yeah, well, strike rate in T20 cricket can never be overrated, doesn't it? I mean, ultimately, it's all about how quickly you score. Yes, how big you score is important, but as we have seen with David Warner, it's not just about the quantum of runs. It's about the pace at which you score those runs, and Warner's really struggled this season to maintain a decent run rate, decent strike rate. Likewise with KL Rahul, and the particular match that you spoke about, Rahul reached his 50 in 33 balls, and then he took 28 balls for his next 18 runs, which is unpardonable, no matter how straightforward the chase might have appeared at that stage. To be fair, there was no support for him at the other end, and batsmen kept coming and going. But then again, you are an experienced cricketer. Rahul made his international debut in 2014, so he's coming to almost 10 years of international cricket. You would expect him a captain of the franchise. He's been captain for a long time now. He's been captain of India as well in all formats. So you would think that he would be equipped enough to carry his team through, even in the event of a meltdown at the other end. And the problem, the way I see it, is that with Rahul, it's not a one-off. We have seen that in international cricket for a while now. He's perfectly at home in 50-over cricket, if you like, where he bats in the middle order for India and keeps wicket. And somehow he revels in that role. He comes in at 5 and 6 and has a solid impact on the game. He bats really quickly. He scores fantastic runs, good runs, quick runs, and keeps very well behind the stumps as well. So it's strange that he's so at home in the 50-over format, but when he comes to open in T20 cricket, then he just goes into this shell. And And the problem also is that he's capable of so much more, as we have seen for all these years. And that is why sometimes it gets a little frustrating when you're watching the game or as a follower of the team or just as a cricket follower, that you know that he's capable of so much more. And you feel, why are you batting within yourself? Why don't you just go and play with freedom? Why did you express yourself? We saw that in when he was captain at Punjab Kings, Kings 11 Punjab, and we're seeing that now again with Lucknow. And yeah, I mean, maybe it's time for Rahul to introspect and see, ask himself whether he's doing justice to the enormous talent that he's got.
Right, right. Moving from batting to bowling, we had two bowling heroes, Mohammad Siraj and Arshdeep Singh. Both are tied with 13 wickets. I want to get your thoughts, especially on Arshdeep Singh, the way he bowled the last over against Mumbai at the Wankhede Stadium. 2 wickets, both stumps broken, both wickets. Your thoughts on his bowling, the way he shaped up, Kaushik?
Yes, I mean, we remember Arshdeep from last year from the Asia Cup in Dubai, and the dropped catch, which became such a big talking point and which sort of threatened to undermine his confidence. But he's a strong young kid, and he had problems with the no balls at that point in time. He has himself spoken about how he's changed his run up, and that has contributed to eliminating the no ball problem. The no ball is a crime in any form of the game, but especially in limited overs cricket and in 20 over game where you have a free hit coming up as well to go with the extra with the run off the no ball, then the problems get compounded in tight finishes. And credit to the young man that he's sorted out that problem. He's always been very good at the Yorkers and the slower balls at the death. And the last over that you spoke about at the Wankhede and Mumbai were on the charge at that point, and the momentum had sort of shifted in their direction with that fabulous innings by Surya Kumar, which fantastic to see him back in form. So Surya Kumar was going really well, Cameron Green was going really well, and Mumbai seemed to have the game not necessarily within control, but they were in with a very good chance of scaling down the big target that Punjab put up. And then for Arshdeep to come and hold his nerve and nail those two Yorkers that you spoke about, second and third balls, stumps not just knocked out but broken in half with a lot of damage to the BCCI, the IPL, because the stump cam lies in the middle stump, and that was also damaged. So it's really good to see the young man hold his nerve to make a case for himself, to try and see if he can wend his way back into the scheme of things, because he's got a lot to offer, and like I said, he's got age on his side, and we have a World T20 coming up next year in North America, so Arshdeep is on the right track. Coming back to Siraj, Siraj has been one of India's most impressive white ball bowlers for a while now. Of course, he's a very good test match bowler too, but with that wobble seam that he has developed, and that is a ball that got George Butler out on Sunday afternoon in the RCB versus RR game. He's really bowling beautifully. He's in the power play, is practically unplayable. There's a reason why he's sitting on top of the wicket takers chart. He strikes early in every game. He's got wickets in the power play. And but again, there is this dichotomy. You spoke about Faf du Plessis with the orange cap. You spoke about Mohammad Siraj with the bowling with the purple cap. So RCB have got the highest run scorer and the highest wicket taker, and yet they're lying at fifth spot, which points to an inconsistency within the setup. I know it's a tight grouping in the middle of the table, but you would think that if you have the highest run scorer and the highest wicket taker in your ranks, that you would be a little higher up in the points table.
And one last question, Kaushik. It's as you just mentioned, it's a crowded table. Do you see Chennai maintaining this week as well, or how will the things pan out next week? Because we almost reached halfway stage, almost barring 4 teams, all have played 7 games each. So how do you look at the things ahead, Kaushik?
Yeah, I suspect by tomorrow evening when Gujarat Titans take on the Mumbai Indians, after that game, everybody would have played 7 matches, and so we would be officially at the halfway stage of the league phase. And yes, there is a log jam. I think Sunrisers are playing catch up. They're like a little behind in the table, and just one place above Delhi Capitals, who got just 1 win in 6 games so far. So maybe it's like 8 teams fighting for those 4 slots at the time being. And if Sunrisers and DC are desirous of making a strong pitch for the playoffs, then that should begin this evening when they play each other in Hyderabad. Will Chennai continue to win? Well, it's anybody's guess. Stephen Fleming told the world a couple of days back that Ben Stokes is out for another week, but they should have the South African Magala back in contention in a couple of days from now, I suspect. But they've been very well served by the two Sri Lankans, the unorthodox Tikshana, both unorthodox actually, the unorthodox spinner Mahesh Tikshana and the slinger, the Lasith Malinga duplicate, if you like, in Patirana. They've been doing really well. So Chennai will be there. They will always be there and thereabouts. I expect Mumbai Indians to make a strong charge. They have not really played to their potential till now. They are showing some good signs, and if they can string together a couple of victories, they'll be a really dangerous side. Rajasthan look very balanced. RCB, with the batting problems that we spoke about. Even yesterday, if you saw the last 5 overs were a big letdown. They only made 33 runs in the last 5 overs and lost 5 wickets. So that is something that will always be playing at the back of their minds. Teams have plenty of little things to sort out. Lucknow, how they recover from that defeat in a match that they should have won 9 times out of 10. So lots, and Gujarat don't have the same consistency that they displayed last year. They really struggled while batting first and while defending a target. So everything to play for. I think it should be another exciting week, and who knows who will be sitting at the top of the table when we speak next week.
So we'll get to know that next week when we reconnect. Kaushik, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Apu. My pleasure.